Just like you, just like me. I don't take time. I am from the light. Oh, of a sound.
Monday.com is
Just like me. How is it going, everybody? So, shit. Manatees. Little mermaid, be about a pool. Little mermaid. By the way, best album of all time. If you guys know that. On my day, I gotta upload Malik Neighbor shorts. Hello? Yo.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, man?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on. Do you stream on YouTube or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. So, what I was thinking we could do, maybe could have discussed this beforehand, but is we could go through like kind of like our top 15 receivers as of right now. Kind of talk about that.
I was wondering, if you pulled up the stream, I have my 2024 NFL draft board, which is basically like, this is my comprehensive list, and I've got 35 receivers.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
So this is, if you see it, it's pretty large. I have 255 total players.
Nice. Yeah. Have you been able to watch film on all those guys so far?
Not all of them, but
okay, yeah.
Like, I have two different differentiations of like film breakdowns. One is like a full on like, I watch like 3, 4, 5 games, and then once I get into March, I'm just gonna do like a quick like 30-minute like 1-game breakdown, just so that I can get that hint of how they play on just like a regular game basis. But that'll be like in March. This stuff is, I'm working on my series, the Prospect Breakdown series, which is like 20 players. Okay. But I've done already Harrison. I'm uploading Neighbors on Sunday, and then Rome Odunze. Those guys have definitively watched film on, but I've seen games from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The only games that I haven't seen from the top, I would say maybe 20, are I didn't see a Virginia game this year. I did not see Malik Washington, and I didn't see. I maybe only saw like one Florida game from Ricky Pearsall.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I have. So for me so far, I'd say I've watched like full film, like 4 or 5 games, full games on like 15 or so guys.
What? Whose film database do you use?
I mostly use Caddies.
Yes.
His aren't bad.
I think his
get a
are
lot from there.
Some of the best. I mean, he's got like his it's good. It's, I mean, for the amount of people that he has, like, it's pretty good. I mess with him heavily. I talked to him a little bit.
For sure, yeah.
I talked to him a little bit.
I haven't found anyone else that does stuff like that. So.
I think there are a few, but not that like I would know. That like people that like are kind of connected, because I know PFF has the PFF Ultimate database, which is that's what Lance Zierlein uses. I wish I saw, oh my god, I saw Lance Zierlein do a stream once with that database, and it was beautiful because you could literally filter like you could filter in drops, you could filter in like third down scenarios. Like it was so crazy.
That's a crazy thing. that like I heard you can like filter like anything you can think of. You can just filter it and it'll just like show up for you like third and 3 where they run the ball, or like third and whatever, like anything.
Third and short.
Stuff even more specific. But yeah, it's pretty crazy what you can do with that. A lot of these guys definitely have like the PFF database, which is cool.
They've got the PFF Ultimate, which is that's
Yeah,
what
so-
scouts use, and also I don't know what Daniel Jeremiah uses. I think he uses the same thing as their line, but yeah, I wish there's also Sports Data Solutions, which does the same thing, just not the film, but it does the advanced analytics for like that scenarios, like they do like the throw on the run, like stuff. They have so much, but it's $1,000, so I'm not paying $1,000 for that.
Yeah, obviously not.
But yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, so like I said like before, are you good with kind of just like we start at around 15 where we have our guys ranked at 15 and kind of go down, or?
yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good
Okay.
with anything. I kind of just like to talk about.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, so some guys that I had like around, my 15th receiver right now is Jamari Thrash out of Louisville.
Jermaine
I thought like
Thrash. Where do I have
he had
him?
some
I have
pil-
him a little low. I have him at
Oh, yeah.
23. I just have him a little lower.
Oh, wow, yeah.
'Cause I just haven't. I didn't have too much experience with Louisville, even though I know he was good. I think he had 1,000 yards though. I think he had 1,000 yards.
I believe so. I thought like he showed some plus traits that I think can like actually translate to the NFL at like a level. He had like 850 yards. But I think he missed a couple games, if I'm not mistaken. I thought so. I thought that he's able to decelerate like really, really effectively. I noticed when I was watching his film, that was kind of the one thing that really, really popped. Is like if he has to run a curl, like a lot of guys, they're running curls, they'll get separation, but the way that I kind of thought like that he throttles down and like stops, it's like kind of like more like kind of special, honestly, like the way he does that. And I thought he moves around the field like pretty well. So I thought like, yeah, I thought he had some pretty good tape in my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into any Jamari Thrash yet, but I'm looking at 848 and 6. I'm wondering what his yards per route run is. 2.35, average depth of target of 11.1. He is 6'1", 185. I know there was some Senior Bowl stuff on him, but I haven't gotten into him a ton. I wonder what his drop percentage is. Oh, yeah, 11.4% drop rate.
It was a little high, yeah.
And only a 15.8% complete contested catch percentage. So
Yeah, that's definitely why I don't have him higher.
yeah. But he did have 1,000 a Georgia transfer from Georgia State, 1,100 yards there. But yeah, those are two things. But what'd you say what was it that you're talking about? The change of direction or the
Yeah, so kind of like
hits?
his ability to like decelerate, I would say. So whenever he will go on curl routes, he'll just like stop like on a dime, pretty much. Most of his curl routes were just kind of pretty nasty, in my opinion. And then like at the Senior Bowl, he did that a few times, and like there's I don't know if you know that franchise guy on YouTube.
No.
He does like prospects, so he's like one of the bigger YouTubers in terms of making prospect analysis and stuff. He's like a scout that I really respect anyway, and he said like I saw like a few times watching the Senior Bowl on TV. He did it. That guy who I like just talked about, he noted that as well as part of like what he saw at the Senior Bowl. So I feel pretty comfortable in saying that like that's a really, really cool trait. So like once you get around to his film there, check that out. I think you like it's one thing that I was like super impressed with. And then I just thought he's also like he moves around the field like pretty well, not like at an extremely high rate like
I wonder what his
like
40
a
is gonna
Neighbors
be.
or anything, but he moves around decently well, and he was good in the intermediate part of the field. And I thought like his ability to kind of turn when receiving the ball to make yak to create yak was really strong. I think that might have played a part into his drops. Was that like
He turned too fast.
he
Like
tries to turn up
he's going like this, and
field
he's
too
not keeping his
quickly?
head on the ball.
Yeah, yeah. I think that could have like played a part of it, because like I found that like it once on a lot of rock opportunities, he's really turning upfield pretty quickly and making like at least some guys miss. He had 17 missed tackles forced last year, which like that's not too bad on 62 receptions. That's
Yeah.
decent, a decent clip I would say. And 16 missed tackles forced last year as well, and on the same amount of receptions. So like you can say like he'll also create yards after catch as well.
And then who you got at 14?
14.
Yeah.
I had Tez Walker,
Tez at
UNC.
14.
I had him really
Interesting.
high. I had him
I
really
have him
high before
9.
the Senior Bowl. I
I
had him
agree.
really
I
high
agree.
before the Senior Bowl,
Senior Bowl, I think, killed his
and I lowered
stock.
him. Yeah, I
Mike,
think.
oh wait, no, I'll let you.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
My concern with him was the I film and the Senior Bowl. I think they're like two different things, because we could look at like the very small sample size from the Senior Bowl and be like, oh, he's slowing down on the deep balls and not tracking it properly. He's trying to only go for the one handers. I think that he's not the greatest against man coverage. I think PFF agreed with me as like he had a 60 grade against man coverage, but then he didn't have the full season. Only played 8 games, 699 yards, 7 touchdowns, good yards per route run as well. So like that little sample size that he did have at UNC, but he was really good with Drake May. Decent speed. I wonder what his 40 time is going to be. Solid enough deep threat, but the man coverage thing and the ability against physical cornerbacks, I think, is a bit of a question. But he's got great hands. His contested catch rate at 65% is pretty good as well, and he's got the good size as well. I think he's 6'2", and he's got a decent wingspan, good hand size. But yeah, the Senior Bowl, I agree. I think it definitely affected his. But I also think that in the small sample size, I think he showed it good enough to make. In my opinion, I think in a regular draft, he's a mid second rounder. But the wide receiver class is so stacked this year that like there's a chance it's like 6 or 7 guys that go in the first round, and he's like one of those guys that I would bet is a maybe late first round guy. Maybe a team like the Chiefs would pull the trigger on him, whether that it's Tez Walker or Franklin.
Yeah, yeah. I had him as a late first, like before the Senior Bowl. My grade. Where are you getting the contested catch stat?
That is PFF.
I have him at 58% last year
Then
and 28% the year before.
yeah, no, you're right. I was wrong. 58.8. That must have been like before the last game.
Oh
Was the
yeah,
last
before
time I
last game.
checked.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, um, like his tape really popped to me. I genuinely had him as a mid first,
Mid
and
first.
I'm like not mid to more late. Actually, late first. I apologize, I said it wrong. But
Nah, you're good.
late first guy. He had the drops. Like in
Yeah.
2022, his drop percentage over 10%.
Yeah.
And this year,
Came down.
you know,
Only
three
3 drops.
drops, three drops in like 7 or 8 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 games,
8 games.
which is not ideal either. And then I think at the Senior Bowl, I think he just got into his own head. I know, like I was listening to a podcast, and there's these guys who are at the Senior Bowl. It's the Locked On NFL Draft podcast, and they said that after his first drop on the first day, he just like screamed really loud and was like super pissed after his first drop. And I think that he like got into his own head a little bit, and he was like, I can't drop this ball, and it just like kind of snowballed. The kind of a little bit of a scarier thing as well with the drops is in his first 5 games this year, 0 drops. His last 3, he had a drop in each of them, and then he goes
Yeah.
into the Senior Bowl, has
Last
like
3
a
NC
ton
State,
of
Clemson,
drops.
Duke. Like those are all better. Oh,
Yeah,
like Notre Dame or NC State secondary, maybe not, but Clemson secondary is good. And he had like a 58 grade. For like, what do you have? 2 drops in that game?
just one.
No, just one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one drop in each of the last 3. But the things that I thought he did well, he was fast.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a fast
fast.
player.
Oh, I think he's a 4-3 guy.
I believe he was charted as the fastest receiver at the Senior Bowl,
I would have
if
no
I'm not
idea. I
mistaken.
think I think he's a low 4-3 guy, or no, a high 4-3 guy. That's what
Yeah,
he kind
I
of looks
think
like
around
straight
there,
line.
like he can run that for sure. I also thought his release off the line was better than I thought, like better than I've heard other people say. Like I thought he comes off the line super well. Like deeper into his route, I thought maybe he wasn't the best at handling contact,
Yeah,
but right off the line, I thought he handled press like really, really well, honestly. And that was kind of why I had him as a first round guy, is because I thought he could beat press
I think
decently
it's just
well.
I think it's the hand fighting. I think it's the hand fighting that's a little bit
Yeah,
like the
yeah, that would
struggle.
make sense. And I thought like on tape, he was consistently stacking corners,
Yeah,
like uh, like getting on top of them and not just like letting them get back into the play, but he's like on the same horizontal plane as them, and that means they can't get back on him without like running into him.
yeah.
And I thought he was extremely effective at doing that, at stacking. So I thought like in terms of him being a good deep threat, I thought that it would still be able to translate as long as he can clean up the drops.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement. I wonder who you like, because I think Tez Walker's good. I think he can be like a two at like a Z at probably the next level. I'm wondering who you got above. Like, what are the guys like you have above him that you like more than Walker? Cause I would assume like guys like Corley would be above him, like Worthy
No, I have
maybe.
Corley below.
Really? You have him?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I have Johnny Wilson above him.
I have Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson's such like an interesting guy for me. I have him
Yeah,
17th. Wilson is, I mean, I don't know. He is a not he's not a tight end, but he's built like a tight end playing wide receiver on the boundary. He has a bit of a drop issue, which is a little concerning. He's not the most physical big player at like 6'7". He loves to finesse guys. But I mean, for his size, he can run routes at a pretty efficient level. I wouldn't assume a 6'7", 220, 230 guy could be running quick slant routes. Off the line of scrimmage, I mean, not the most explosive. He's not the quickest guy. Straight line speed is pretty good though. I wonder what is probably like a 4-4 relative kind of guy. But I mean, man coverage again. But Wilson's an interesting one. I forgot what his drop percentage was.
it was a little higher than you'd
Yeah,
like, but it wasn't like egregious. I think.
yeah,
Here, I'll look at
I
it
mean
here.
6'7",
Oh,
200. Yeah,
10.9. Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty bad.
10%. Yep. And then
Yeah.
contested catch rate of 40% for a 6'7", 237 guy. He's more of like he's also more of a finesse guy. He's just kind of like he
Yeah, he
wants to
is.
finesse at the catch point.
Certainly.
He's not going to try to maul. He's going to try to just outreach you with his vertical.
Yep.
But I mean, this I don't know. FSU's system was really weird because Coleman is the same argument you could say. Like Coleman, his contested catch percentage dropped massively from 2022 at Michigan State. It was one of the highest at 60% something, and then this year was in the 30s. And he also didn't generate a ton of separation because half of his, pretty much like half, I think it was 34% of his targets were contested, which kind of means that he doesn't gain separation. But he's an acrobat. If I were to give a comp for Kelman, it would probably be like bit of a thinner Mike Wilson. He's an acrobat style. He's a go and get it type of guy. And 11 touchdowns in
Yeah.
the red zone, or 11 touchdowns in the end zone. He's a fade route guy. He's not a route guy. But Coleman and Wilson are like the similar archetypes ish, but they do it in such a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. The Florida State offense with those two guys was definitely really interesting.
Yeah.
I did think, like, yeah, Wilson does have drop problems. And I just think I had him this high because I think, like, the right coach will be able to, like, I think if I'm a coach and I believe in myself, I'm like, okay, I want this guy in my building because I can coach him up to be, like, this really unique weapon
Yeah, he can't be a
who's a
unique player.
6'6", 235-pound receiver. And I think he can like I said, thrive under the right coaching. And it is really weird, like you said, like he's not a physical guy at 6'6". So anyone who says that, like I think that anyone who says that he should move to
He's
tight
not
end,
really, yeah. He's not really a tight end. You
agree.
would think he would be that, but he's not
Because
really.
he just yeah, like base you just look at him, you think so. But then you watch his game and yeah, like you said, he's a finesse receiver. He can struggle with contact at times,
Yep.
and he doesn't use his size particularly well in like most areas of the game. But yeah, his route, I thought his route running was like good, solid.
Yeah, for his size,
And
it's
you know,
real
you can't
good.
really you can't really say that about like any guys about like anyone like that big, and you see them running routes like that, and you're just kind of impressed.
Yeah, that's why I moved to receiver,
and
really.
Yeah, and he had like some really good catches on tape, which I found weird because he drops easy ones, and then
He
like
does.
there's
Yes.
there's a few like really impressive catches, and I'm like, that's why you know, I want to coach him up. And yeah, same thing with Coleman. Coleman has even more impressive catches than this
Yeah, his
than this
catches,
guy.
he's got the highlight. He's got the highlight reel.
So I'll say I have him at number 11.
Coleman, I have him at 11 too.
Yeah, and I'm lower on him because I don't like his route running.
Yeah,
I didn't think
yeah.
he was a good route runner at all.
His tree isn't very developed, and I don't think it ever will be.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Just the way like he goes into his breaks and
Yeah.
stuff didn't seem, you know, that good. I'll also say that like my Tez Walker and Johnny Wilson, I have them at basically the same grade. And then my number
What is your grading
12.
system?
Yeah.
I wonder because I go by the 8 to 5 scale, which is the NFL.com's one. So like I got 6'4", like the 6'3", 6'2", 6'1", 6 zeros, and then I go
Yeah,
by the
so
other ones
mine starts at 8.0. 8.0 is perfect
Yep.
prospect.
Yep.
And then it goes down.
to the 5, which is on basically undraftable. So like you got like
Yeah.
the like
Under
a 6,
5 is
like a
needs
6.50
time in the
is
developmental league.
yeah 6.00 is developmental trait, 6.50 boomer bust, like that system.
Yeah. Yeah,
I go
so
on
I
the
have
same one then.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I have Keon Coleman at 6.59 boomer bust. That's what I thought his grade was. I think like contested catch receivers are just so polarizing because you have to be able to win routes at the end NFL at the end of the day. Even if you're a good contested catch guy, I don't know if you can like if you're catching only like you know at the NFL if you're getting half your contested balls, that's pretty solid. If you're getting like 55%, that's really good. So, you know, that's still 55%. If you're not, you know, getting 55% of your targets, how efficient or like how efficient are you really if that's like the only targets you're getting? If that makes sense?
Yeah.
And I didn't think like his hands were like incredible or anything. They're pretty good.
Coleman.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
I thought his hands were solid, like good to solid. But I didn't think like he had magnets or anything, which like you'd kind of hope for, because he like we've been saying, he can't run routes that well. I'm actually super interested to see how fast he runs because I think that'll definitely be.
I don't. I mean 4.5. I don't think it's gonna help him.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe like 4.
I thought
mid.
high 4.4s, high to
Yeah.
mid 4.4s, but we'll
Like-
see. Because if he runs like a 4.45, that's pretty good. So
Yeah. I would say anything under 4.45 would be like an impressive number.
oh yeah, he's probably going in the first round if he's
Yeah,
running like around the 4.4.
I have a bit of a different system. I mean, everybody's is different. Mine's so I have him as a 6.2 right now because I haven't done like
Okay.
my 6.20, 6.1, blah, blah, all that stuff. I have him as a 6.2 right now, which is a second round grade, kind of a late one.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, that I
I
think.
think I go a little higher with mine then, yeah. Cause
Yeah, no, it's all like relative to the same amount. It's like I understand the system we both go on, but I have an interesting one. What do you think about Worthy, Xavier Worthy?
I actually have the same grade for him and Coleman.
Him and Coleman, yeah. I have them. I have Coleman right above Xavier Worthy, and I'll probably have like a really similar
Yes.
grade.
Same for me. Exact same.
Oh,
They have
look,
like the same grade.
a guy in the chat said, "Do you think Odunze is better than Neighbors?" Or he
I
said he thinks Odunze is better than Neighbors. I like Neighbors a bit more.
I would agree. I haven't fully dove into the Top Guys film, just because I think it's like a little easier for me
It
to
is.
get a consent, like get a feel for how good they are. But as of right now, I would say like I prefer the explosiveness of
Yeah.
Neighbors, and I don't think, yeah, I did think Odunze had an extremely impressive season for sure. But I do prefer like getting more explosiveness and juice in my offense. So.
I had a really good example when I was thinking about this in my head. So it's kind of like that Drake, London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave / kind of argument in 2022, where it's, do you want the guy who's a 4-3, probably like acrobatic contested catch guy who's going to make crazy over the shoulder catches, or do you want the guy who's going to be efficient routes? He's going to be explosive. He's going to win pretty much on all three levels of the field. And I think that translates a bit better. Like, Neighbors can win deep. He can win extremely effectively short. Like, he had, I don't know, 3 or 4 dig routes that just he took to the house from like 5 yards out to 40. And then he's got decent contested catchability. I mean, he is kind of a bowling ball. He at like 6 foot, 200 pounds. Good enough contested catching, good enough physicalness for his size, but he really wins with his quickness, change of direction, acceleration, and I've done like 4 games of film on Neighbors,
Oh, nice, yeah.
and I'm posting his prospect breakdown. I've already got that done. I'm posting that tomorrow, but
Oh, nice, nice.
I do really like Neighbors. Neighbors is one of like
For
I
sure.
really understand the hype on him, but I still love Odunze too. I have Neighbors at a 7. And then I've got Rome Odunze as a 6-9 right now. But
Okay.
I think Neighbors
Yeah, so
is
like,
probably I think Neighbors could be a Pro Bowler. He reminds me a lot of DJ Moore. And then Odunze
yeah.
is more like a Pickens type of player, where it's
Okay.
acrobatic, over the shoulder, just win over the top. But Odunze's got some good routes. Just maybe not the tree isn't. It's good enough, and he does have good, like, he's a fluid receiver too, which I like. So I think pretty much Harrison, Neighbors, and Odunze are all ones at the next level, all 1,000-yard guys.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. I do think it's kind of interesting that like a lot of people are putting him over Neighbors like more recently.
Yeah, I understand it. I can see the Odunze Neighbors because it is 2A 2B for me. I can definitely
for sure.
understand it.
I would say like it's kind of like what do you prefer
Yeah,
type of thing.
yeah, Garrett Wilson or Drake London. Which archetype do you like the most?
Yeah, and so we were on talking about Worthy. So
Yeah, Worthy.
yeah, so I had like a very similar grade to him and Coleman. Obviously, they're not the same player at all, even though I have the same grade.
Yeah, they're
He's
such
my number
different
12 guy. You know, like he's 6'1", 172, so really
yeah,
light.
he's light. And
He wins just quick twitch quick twitch athleticism. He's super fast. His
he's
change
quick.
of direction's crazy.
He's
yeah.
quick, and he's also a good All-American punt returner.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure he was All-American. I'm fairly certain.
I think so.
It was Zachariah Branch who was the All-American special teams all-around guy. I forgot who the kick returner. Maybe it was Zachariah, that's another guy who I'm super excited about in the future.
Yeah. I think he wins. Just he's like so quick, and his change of direction is crazy.
Zachariah?
He's one of the most agile players I've seen.
Zachariah Branch.
Worthy. Actually,
Oh, yeah.
I haven't looked at his profile yet at all. Is he coming out this year?
Zachariah? No, he was a freshman. He was a true freshman
Okay, gotcha.
last year. No, he is like he's a bottle of lightning. Zachariah
Yes.
Branch is a guy that I'm maybe a little. First round guy, probably like I don't know. It's hard to project a guy from 2 years out, but he was that splash player at Alabama. Whenever they needed a big play, he would just pop off, or he would do something crazy on special teams. He had a punt return and kick return touchdown. But Worthy is, I mean, I think in 2022, my biggest issue with him was the tracking. And it was like, he has potential to be a really good, like, straight line deep threat, or like a guy you just put on a crossers. Like a team like the Jaguars would
that'd be
like
nice. Yep.
effectively utilize Worthy, but I don't know. It's like, any contact can kind of push him away, and
Yeah.
the drop percentage.
Yes.
The drop
That was
percentage
my
got better.
exact.
The drop percentage went from 10
Yeah, it did.
in 2022 to 6, but 5 drops again. But he played
Yeah,
a lot
what was-
of games. He played all.
What was
15.
interesting is that he had a hand injury.
Did he? I didn't know
Which, yeah, from what I saw, I was kind of looking into it because I saw some people say that like his drop issues weren't as bad, and if I'm not mistaken, he did have a hand injury, at some point, and that was around the time when he had a bunch of drops. I think it might have been against
It would've
BYU.
It would, yeah. 'Cause, I see 3 drops against BYU.
Yeah, because his hand was like taped up for one game. He played with a broken hand at some point. That's what it says.
Yeah. Maybe that was.
I don't know. I can't give an exact date, but that's an article posted on December 29th that said he was playing through a broken hand. And I
would've
I
been-
saw on tape his hand was taped up. So, maybe you give him like a little bit more benefit of the doubt there with some of the drops, which is good.
Targeted
But I do think he
119
probably
times.
still needs to clean that up.
Yeah.
Especially for being such a small guy, he's got to have really good hands because he's definitely not going to be mossing dudes or
No.
anything, right? So,
No, but I mean, he wasn't the number one because Donnie Mitchell I thought was really the guy that everybody on the defense really wanted to focus on. But the guy who would always get those quick targets, the checkdowns, would be Worthy and then just work after the catch. I forgot his average depth of target. Let me look that up now.
Mitchell or Worthy?
Worthy,
Oh, yeah.
10.3, but 2.14 yards per route run. I know, but I like Donnie Mitchell a lot. I have him as my 5th
certainly,
wide
yep.
receiver. But Worthy,
I also have him 5th.
really. And then who do you have at 4th? Because a lot of people have either Brian Thomas Jr. or somebody else.
Troy Franklin.
Franklin, I'm a little lower
Yeah.
on Franklin. I think his drops and him playing against physical cornerbacks, that concerns me. But he's really fast and he's really quick and he can excel real fast and his break off of the line is real good. But 10% drop rate and he cannot play against, and he's not a contested catch guy at all. I saw Brett Coleman compare him to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and I can see it a little bit. Maybe not like a direct comparison, but Franklin's like a slim, tall guy who's just quick.
Yeah, the drops is one thing that is definitely was a bit concerning to me,
Yeah.
for sure.
10%, I think.
And yeah, it is tough. Yeah, obviously rankings aren't finalized, but I did really like him because he just was such a smooth route runner.
Yeah, he's got
In
good
my
routes.
opinion, he just like the way he moves around the field is just so nice. Yeah, I did write down like in like his weaknesses that like I would say not particularly physical, even though he's 6'3" and drop issues.
I mean, 6'3",
sure.
but like 187, and it's probably going to
Yeah,
come down
so-
for the combine. He's not the big, like he just isn't.
Yeah, he is
big.
listed at that. He might not. You're right. He might be smaller, but he's really fast. His like his ability to kind of change directions during his routes is very, very clean.
Yeah.
I thought he actually had a good release off the line as well. Even though like he didn't handle contact too well, but I think his quick feet kind of help him avoid press sometimes, which is a good thing. If the corner got his hands on him, wasn't the best at beating that, but I did notice like in the press snaps that I saw that they try to press him, and a lot of times he wins with his feet, which I liked. And he is really good in the yak game as well,
Yeah.
on top of being a route runner. I kind of think like
538 yards after the catch. I think that's top 5 in the FBS.
yeah, and then yeah, exactly. That's extremely high, and 14 missed tackles forced could be a little
3.32
better.
yards per route run.
but-
Again, another top
yeah.
5 number. 147.8 passer rating when targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the 1,300 yards, 4 touchdowns. 114 targets, 81 catches. Like, he's got the numbers to prove it, and everything kind of connects and makes sense with Franklin. There's not like a general like disagreement between Franklin's ability and play style.
Yeah,
Everybody's kind of
I would
like,
agree.
we all feel the same thing about him. It just depends on how high we are at the NFL level. Like, he played 18% of his plays in the slot. I think he should play a little more at the NFL level in the slot, or if teams don't want him to face slot cornerbacks and have more, I forgot the adjective, like the congestion. They don't want to put him there. Put him on the outside and make him the dagger guy.
Oh yeah,
And then
yeah,
just
he would
kinda
be
let him
really
run
good in
loose.
that spot for sure. I do think there is something to say about a lot of these guys that can't beat press. That in the modern NFL there are a lot of ways to get around that. So maybe like you're not going to be a true number one.
It's also a zone league. It's also starting to become more of a zone league. So
yeah.
only
So
teams
like
like
if
the
you're
Steelers
not
run press so much.
yeah. So like if you're not going to be like a true number one, I think it's not. Not the worst thing if you're not great against press. Obviously, it is definitely a disadvantage, but, there's bunches, stacks, motion, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. If you go to the
motion
right
would help him a
offense,
lot.
you can easily hide him. I thought he'd be a really, really good fit in Buffalo.
I think
In
he'd
my
also be a really
mocks,
good
I've
fit in
mocked him there.
the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs would be another good fit.
Chiefs, yeah, certainly. The drops are a little concerning if you want him to go to the Chiefs there, but
God, you're right. They're just drafting another
Yeah.
same. I mean, Sky Moore. What they got? MVS, Sky Moore, Justin Watson, and then
yeah.
Kadarius Toney. All drop guys, all slot guys. All guys are not the greatest against physical cornerbacks, and you're gonna add another guy in Franklin. But he could probably. I mean, the Rashee Rice was that archetype that they really needed, which was like the
He was good.
like Juju Smith-Schuster. They just replaced Juju with another Juju.
Yeah, I thought he couldn't beat press, like well at all coming
yeah.
out, and like see like that's just one example of like how you can hide guys. I thought Mitchell would be Adonai Mitchell out of Texas would be a really really good fit with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I have in my last mock draft. I said Mitchell.
You took him.
I took Mitchell for the Chiefs in my last one, and
I took
like,
him
that's a
in
huge
mine
fit.
for the Ravens.
Ravens.
I
Yeah,
have him like roughly going around there.
I think Ravens need like a physical number one. I think the Ravens would be a good with maybe not Leggett. That's a little too early, but
Yeah,
Brian
it is a
Thomas,
bit early
Brian
for
Thomas Jr. also no. Yeah, Mitchell to the.
Like
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, would say that I have like pretty much the same grade on him in Franklin. I thought I put Franklin over him because I just think Franklin does a little bit more with the ball in his hands, so you can like
Yeah, a
kind
little
of
better
scheme him
better
up a
after
little
the
bit
catch.
more. So like if he doesn't work out, like there's no doubt in my mind that Franklin will be like at least a good gimmick player, and Mitchell, I think his tape was probably like the highs of the tape were probably the best that I've watched so
Yeah,
far.
he's got some. I mean, other than Harrison, have you done Harrison yet?
I haven't. No.
He's-
yeah. So
Quick.
I'm
quick
excited.
exit.
I was saving like the top guys for the end, just because I know I'm gonna rank them high anyway. So
I mean, Harrison is definitively he's not moving from my number one spot, and he will never. Like, I think he wins any way you think of. Like he has like his release is beautiful for a 6'4", 205 guy. His body control is crazy. Contested catch ability is there. He doesn't drop the ball at a high rate either. He has seen like almost every double team in the book and can beat any double team. Fish the Blitnikoff winner, 2-time all. Like Harrison is, I think, the best film I've ever watched, and that's really saying something.
yeah, I'm definitely excited to get into him. I just knew I would be ranking him like super super high. So I didn't really
Get the lower guys.
I haven't really cared to look at it yet. I want to do everyone else before.
I don't even think you need to look at it to know that Marvin Harrison's
Yeah,
that guy.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So a little bit back more like on Mitchell. Like I said, like best film I've watched so far. Basically, I've watched all the film except for the top 3 guys.
Damn, you're getting on it.
Or like
have
not
you done
everyone, but
have you done any other
roughly.
position outside a receiver?
Not yet. Yeah. So I'm a
Ah,
little bit talking a little bit. I decided to go position by position.
that makes
So
sense. I've
yeah.
gone. What I did was I went through my top 10 first, and now I'm just kind of
Mm,
doing whatever one I want. But I started on the quarterback position, did Brock Bowers, the top three receivers, top three
mm,
offensive linemen, top. I want to do the top three defensive linemen. I did Byron Murphy, and then I want to do a little cornerbacks, and then I'm basically just gonna
mm.
try to literally throw in as much film as possible in April. Just
Yeah.
in April, just absolutely put aside my schoolwork and just try to
Grind.
grind
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah. I was going to do corners next. For me.
Uh,
I
cornerback
was
is
gonna ask about Brock Bowers.
yeah.
Because I've seen like Mel Kiper talks about him as a receiving entity.
He is.
Like what would
He
your take
is.
be on that?
I think he's like a. I compared him to like a unicorn. I don't
Hmm.
think he's a true. Like he is not a true tight end. He is like, if you put a 6'3", 200 and his weight is gonna come down from the combine and his height. I think he'll measure in at 6'3", 235, maybe 230 pounds. If you put if you made like a receiving tight end in like a lab, you pretty much make Brock Bowers and put him in his size. He his routes are maybe not the great, like his routes for a tight end are so good. Routes in general, my dogs are barking. His
I
routes
know.
are great. For a tight end, they're up there. His speed is like George Kittle level speed. Then you got the contested catch. I know it was only 22% this year, but he can win up top. He can win at all three levels of the field. He's got secure hands. He can fight through contact. The only thing that I don't think he's the greatest at is blocking, but it's kind of like bipolar. He'll either have a super good blocking rep or a terrible blocking rep, but he's never gonna pass block at the NFL level. I think he's 1,000-yard tight end receiving. I think he's a guy that definitely hits the 1,000-yard tight end receiving mark. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit it year one. 3 years of dominance. He led all tight ends in yards after catch 3 years in a row. He was highest graded 2 years in a row. What else? There's just so many things about Brock Bowers. I think he's a generational tight end, in my opinion. I don't think and that's coming up against one of the first players I ever watched film on in Kyle Pitts, which I loved Kyle Pitts, and I think Brock Bowers is probably better than him, even coming out of college. And Pitts was a 1,000-yard receiver in his rookie year.
Wow. Yeah. Would you draft him like at like if he's there
Yeah.
for the Chargers at 5?
Yeah.
Are you taking him like over Neighbors?
No, not over Neighbors, but if Neighbors is gone, then yeah. But if Neighbors
So
is there,
like
pick
over
Neighbors.
over Adunze?
Maybe. I think there's definitely an argument.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said like 22% contested catches this year. I would say like he was banged up. He missed
He
a
did get
couple
hurt, yeah.
weeks
He did. He
in the
definitely
middle of
did.
the season.
But in
And
2023, it was fine. It was like 58.
last year, no, 2022, it was 76.
Oh yeah. Then I would yeah.
That's ridiculous.
No, he's ridiculous. And 2022 was his best year. 2021 was great too. Also, the only tight end ever to win the John Mackey Award twice. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's pretty nuts.
and that like what 500 something yards after catch, or like 450, which is that's high receiver numbers level. And then he's probably gonna be like a low 4.4 guy. Like yeah,
Damn, that's disgusting.
he's
That's
like
crazy.
he's really like he runs away from guys, and you don't really see that too much with tight ends, other than just kind of George Kittle, who consistently runs away from guys, and Brock Bowers is one of like the Kentucky game when he had the game winning catch against Kentucky, ran away from like 5 guys and scored. Like Bowers is the film really speaks for itself. I don't think that's why I have him as a 7.4. I think he's a future All-Pro.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh, 7.4. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I think our scale is much different. Maybe.
I mean,
because
it's kind of like all
7.4 would be, like, oh no, never mind. Yeah, that makes
7.4
sense.
is between all pro. Well, I have it a little different because I have it just like I kind of tweaked it to more like so it fits a bit of like a round thing where
Yeah.
like you can understand it. or where just the regular person can understand it. But I have him as a 7.4, which is like an all-pro potential.
Yeah.
And then what? I've got Caleb and Marvin Harrison, both 7.5s, because those are
Okay.
guys that I've watched them 3 years, or technically Marvin 2 years. But Caleb was the first college football player I was like, at Oklahoma, I was like, this guy is a future first overall pick. I remember I texted my, now ex-girlfriend, but I was like, you know about this Caleb Williams guy? He just threw 4 touchdowns against TCU, and he beat Texas in the Red River Showdown. I was like, yeah, no, this guy's that guy, and then won the Heisman, probably going to be the first overall pick.
Nice. Yeah. For me, a 7.5 is day one perennial all pro. That's what a 7.5 is on mine.
Yeah, we have the same thing. Yeah, all pro potential.
Oh, okay.
And then,
No, not all potential. Like day one, he comes in, he's an all pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
I have
more
so
the
you
potential
said
type of thing with my grades, where it's like these are future guys. Like if I think you're gonna be not Pro Bowler right away, but like you're gonna be a Pro Bowler in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's like a 6.8 for me.
Or so. Like an early first.
Yeah, like a and so we both had Coleman at 11. I'm interested to see who you had at 10.
I am, I think, strangely high compared to relatively everybody else on Jalen Polk. I don't see Jalen Polk ever being in anybody's top 10, and I have him 10. Polk.
He's the only guy I have not watched that's like might come into my top 15. He's the only guy.
He's got great. He's kind of a similar archetype to really Odunze. Like he's a similar, like good routes, really good body control. He's a 360 receiver where he just comes and just makes a crazy catch. Good hands. Let me look at his contested catch rate because it was good. And then he was that number 2. Also, Jalen McMillan is another underrated guy. That whole Washington receiver core was, on paper, it was so crazy in the preseason, and then it really worked out. Contested catch rate at 54.2% with a 5.5 drop rate. And 1,000 yards this year, 1,009 touchdowns. Yards after catch is 356, which is all right. I thought his after the catch ability was fine. I think his speed is also going to be like mid-tier, but I just like the just throw it up there or just throw it in his range, in his catch. I forgot the adjective that people use, but his catch radius. His radius is good. That's what I thought about Polk.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well, that like he can come down with catches at a decent rate or like at a high level.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into him. He's like the only guy that I think would come in and maybe like shift up my rankings a lot more. Where'd you have Corley?
Malachi Corley. I have him at 13. I have not watched any tape on him. I didn't watch a Western Kentucky game this year.
Okay.
I don't really know too much about him outside of he's good after the catch, he's a bowling ball, and he's kind of hard to bring down. And then he had a good Senior Bowl. That's kind of all I know about him.
Yeah, he was solid in the Senior Bowl. I have him at 17 myself. Pretty much, yeah, like you said, like he has good speed. He accelerates like at a high level as well, and his like yards after catch. I think he just understands how to take angles.
683 out of 985. 683 after the catch, at an 8.6% yard. Wait, no. What was his average depth of target?
Not high. Cannot be high. 5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
And some of these games are in the negatives.
Like half of his receptions are screens, pretty much. More than half.
Really?
Honestly. Like he had 115 targets in 14 games.
Oh my god.
Like so many of his targets are just screens. Screen, jet sweep.
That's maybe why his contested catch rate is ass. 23.5.
Like screen, jet sweep, screen. Oh, 10-yard out. One deep throw on a schemed up play. And like that's kind of like his film. I think he understands how to set up defenders to miss in the yak game. He takes really good angles. His contact balance is also really good. Like
Yeah, like a bowling
best
ball.
contact balance
Just
I've
bum, bum,
seen
bum.
this draft. Like he's kind of like a running back, honestly.
What is he?
In terms of that,
5'11", 210.
I'm a little
Yeah.
lower on him just because. Yeah, 5'10", 215 is what they had him at the Senior Bowl.
Ah,
I
so
think.
a running back
Um,
is after
yeah,
the catchability.
and pretty much-
makes sense too.
yeah, pretty much he's missing like he's missing route running prowess. Like he didn't run that many routes. Sometimes he looks kind of clunky. Like when he kind of has to do like a little shake to his route, if that makes sense. Like if he has to
Yeah.
go like an in and out quick move, that kind of thing. Like it just didn't look very clean to me. And he doesn't do anything receiver specific at a high level, and he pretty much never played against press. I don't know, like that's
Slot,
obviously
using the
can't be a
slot
positive.
every time.
Yeah, like I can't remember. Like I can probably count the amount of press snaps I saw on one hand. Like it was really, really interesting. I think like I've seen like people say Deebo Samuel. I think that's a little bit of like a lazy comp,
yeah,
just
I
because.
saw Rashee Rice.
Yeah, just because like Corley, his route running is not good. Like he has to improve it. So I have him as a lower tier boomer bust guy.
Do you
yeah,
have
he
like
was-
a list, or do you just have like kind of like a sheet?
Yeah, I have a Google sheet.
Me too.
Yeah, I have it open. I can probably share my screen. If I can figure out how to do that.
It's the
Yep.
yeah.
Applications. All right, this should work. Hopefully it doesn't lag my Wi-Fi too much because I don't have the best Wi-Fi here. Yeah, so like I've got all these guys, if you can see it here,
Oh,
but
little different.
I've got all that stuff. The grades aren't final, obviously, because I have Corley
yeah.
created above Thrash here, but these are this is my ranking so far, and then move all these guys down 3 pretty much because I haven't looked at the top 3
Lad
guys yet.
McConkey. Dude,
yeah.
I did not like Lad McConkey before the Senior
No?
Bowl. I was like, he's a 4th round guy. He's a late
What?
3rd round. And then, no, because I only looked at his stats and I watched him in game and I was like, because you're not
Dude,
going to
his-
see. You don't look at
his
the
tape
route
is
running on
disgusting.
I know. And then I watched his Senior Bowl stuff and I was like, oh yeah, I'm sold. I watched the game at Georgia when I was doing the Brock Bowers and I'm like, yeah, I was wrong. So now he's 7. I might move him above Leggett.
I have him at 6. Yeah, I actually mocked him in my last mock. I mocked him to the Cowboys.
I like that.
Yeah, I
McConkey.
think it would be a good fit.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna get those Cup, Thielen, Hunter Renfro comparisons every day.
Yes, he is.
But yeah, no, the
And,
Excel, the fluidity in his routes, he can break off very well. It's just like the Georgia didn't pass. If he went to Alabama, he would be
Yeah.
a 1st round guy. Consensus.
I think he still goes in the first.
Yeah, I think I have him as an early 2nd round grader right now. I need to watch I'm probably gonna do a prospect breakdown on him. I probably will end up, I don't know, maybe borderline 1st round grade. I think I'll end up having on him.
Oh, I have him as if you take him 20 or earlier, I'm good. I'm good with that.
I mean, yeah.
Or not earlier, 20 or later. I'm
20
good
or
with.
later, I think he's a mid in that mid 20s conversation. I would be like, yeah, he's got that. Leggett, I'm high on Leggett.
Oh yeah.
I mean, South Carolina
I liked him.
South Carolina was.
I have a number
ass.
9.
South Carolina was. I mean, that's like the same thing I have with the question of what was I gonna say? Spencer Rattler. Like the Rattler's line didn't help him at all, and that also affected like his timing, and he always was on the run, always was a little jittery in the pocket. His footwork wasn't as clean, but when the plays would work out and when they were just letting it fly with Lletget, it was working. And then he's got the acrobatic contested catch ability where he's gonna make like I you can't see my like face cam, but he'll just make like a he'll just reach out and just grab
Like high
it.
point?
With the what?
The high pointing of the ball?
Not even just high pointing. It like anywhere. Like imagine like a mossing, but just like mid frame mossing some guy, and he's like just taking the ball away from a cornerback at the catch point. And then he's also fast. I think he's like a high
really
4.3 or like a 4.38 projected, maybe 4.39.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And
I would
then
definitely
he
agree
did
with
come down in size. He's I know he was listed at 6'3" from ESPN, 6'1", like 200 and he's big too. He looks like he's kind of hard to bring
223.
down.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, like the I lowered him a little bit when he was a little smaller. I didn't lower him that much, but yeah, he has a good profile. I think like he has a good chance of working out. He could go to if he goes to a good situation. Like I'd say like his big strength, his speed, and like he has a really good vertical, which allows him to like really like high point balls in contested catch situations. Like a lot of his highlights are just him. He's rising up. He's got the hands up, and it's just like it's like how you want to teach players to make contested catches. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And the contested catch rate at 47, I think is lying, because a lot of them were just not catchable. But only two
it's
drops.
really tough to like contested catch rate is a really
it's fickle. You need
stat.
you need to look at the actual contested
because
catch.
you can't just like it depends. A lot of it depends on your quarterback.
Yeah,
most of it
ball
really
placement.
even. So yeah, because if you're not getting catchable balls, or like you're getting like balls that like it's like 10% chance catchable, like it's not
or
your
they
fault.
fall short, or he's like miles away. They'll still count it because it's within the range.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's still like, if you're Odell Beckham Jr. on New York Giants, you can make the catch. So exactly.
Greatest wide receiver rookie season. I don't care about Puka. I don't care about just Jamar Chase. Odell was the greatest rookie wide receiver year of all time. And I will probably, unless I see a guy go for 1,500 and just become a first team All Pro. I think Chase was.
I was not actually.
I think was Chase the first team at his rookie
All
year.
Pro?
Second team.
I don't think
Puka was
so.
the second team.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson was the second team. I think Odell was. I need to look this up.
Yeah. I actually wasn't. I didn't get to watch Odell when he was good. I only started watching a lot of football like in the last 3-4 years. So, yeah.
You had a good amount of knowledge.
I've missed a lot.
You had a good amount of knowledge for a guy that's only been in the thing for 3 years. I started 2018, 2019, but I didn't start doing like this stuff at Draft Profiles, looking at film 2 years ago. Maybe like I started dipping my toes in 2021, but 2022 was the first year that I really went deep into the draft. 2023 last year was the first year I did my draft board, and now this year I'm a little seasoned. I'm doing my independent study on this.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it's my first year doing like a lot of draft stuff for me.
He was not an All-Pro. Shame on him.
No? Oh.
But
yeah. So we were talking about Lletget. He also like his speed is really good. Yeah,
it's a different pronunciation because I do say Lletget because that's kind of.
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
I've heard both.
Because that's because I do pronounce I pronounce guys a little differently because I'm Hispanic. So I have like
I see,
like a guy like Talisa Fuaga. Over like Talisa Fuaga is really that's how you pronounce it, but I think it's Taliese because that's how you would say it in Spanish.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
for sure.
Sumatai or Kingsley Sumatai, I had a tough time pronouncing it as well in the beginning as well. But
yeah, that's
else?
a tougher name.
Who's your most underrated guy?
Most underrated? Oh man, I would have said McConkey, but like he had too good of a Senior Bowl.
Lad, yeah.
I think either Thrash, or maybe like Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky Parasol. He gets a lot of
Uh,
hype. He gets a lot of
I
like
thought,
internet
yeah.
hype.
So I thought like Thrash or even Johnny Wilson probably. Thrash probably was my because I don't really hear him in many like top 15s.
I don't hear McMillan. I don't hear McMillan ever in the draft process. I don't hear him. Only the
Oh
nerds.
yeah,
Only the nerds really
I need to
like
take
him.
a look at his tape.
Only the nerds,
I need to
because you
take a look
probably
at his
haven't
tape.
watched Washington, but only the nerds are like, yo,
Have not,
McMillan's
yeah.
got some crispy routes. Like he can actually separate at the next level, and then everybody's just
Okay.
like, everybody just cares about the big guys. But he was hurt. He was hurt for a good amount. That's why his stats look worse. And then Polk really took his role as the two in that system. But McMillan can really separate a lot, and he had a great.
Yeah.
McMillan had 1,000 yards in 2022.
Oh yeah. Okay. Actually, I'll change my answer. I would say Adonai Mitchell.
Adonai
think
Mitchell.
I think he's disgusting. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I would agree. I have him. Well, I might even move him above Brian Thomas Jr., but I like Brian Thomas.
I have him above Thomas.
I
have Thomas at 7.
Yeah. Thomas was a fun like guy. He just at LSU's offense was just so fun last year. But Brian Thomas Jr. was always that big play, like touchdowns every game. Just Jade Daniels is just like he'll come down with this one, and then Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, and
would
then he
just
did.
beat a receiver, and then just score a touchdown. But his route tree is so like straightforward. It's like my route tree. I have
It was
the comparison.
so limited.
Because
so limited.
I tore my hip.
Oh yeah.
I was not a football player. I was a runner, but I tore my hip. So whenever I play backyard football, I only run 3 routes: in routes, go routes, comebacks, and that's literally what Brian Thomas Jr. does. But he does it at a high level. Can definitely win on go routes.
Yeah.
Can win at the catch point. He's fast.
Yeah, that's why I have him definitely a first round guy. I think he's
I wish he
a
was
good
more
fit.
physical. I wish he was a bit more physical though.
Yeah, I could see that. I think he's a good fit on the Jags, the Bills, who need a deep threat.
I like the Bills. I like the Bills. I like mocking him into the Bills.
Yeah, I do as well. I do like mocking the Jags too because they don't really have a deep threat.
Yeah, they got a lot of intermediate guys.
So here's a
Christian Kirk.
stat for you about Brian Thomas Jr. Brett Coleman, he's a YouTuber.
Are you talking about the
I don't know where he got the
66%
stat.
snap?
Yeah, 66% of his routes were goes, hitches, or curls.
Yeah, that's
2/3 of his routes were
that's-
running in a straight line or running in a straight line and then stopping.
yeah. It's so funny. That's kind of what I do in IRL backyard
Yeah.
football. That's all I do.
And I would say like that percentage, like it was backed by his tape. Like he didn't seem very technically refined when running other types of routes.
His route tree it's one dimensional, but it's okay, but it's also not. Because you're not supposed to have a one-dimensional route tree if you want to be really successful in the NFL. But if you're really good at doing it, you're just a one archetype type of guy. Like Mike Williams has been. Mike Williams made got a $20 million annual contract for being just a contestant. He can only make acrobatic catches, and score in the end zone and get fade balls. That's it. But he's $20 million.
Yeah, I also think that it's pretty obvious, but like contested catching is very like year to year. Like some years you'll get luckier, some years you won't. Like it kind of find like it's the same thing with like corner production. Like if you're good, some years you're still not going to get production. You're just not going to get the opportunities. Yeah, and like kind of same thing with contested catching. It's like you could have incredible boom years for these guys, but like the one year where like you don't get the luck, like
you could be Allen Robinson.
What's your team going to do? Yeah. So here's like my final, like I kind of wrote like a big blurb on each player. So like my final like closing point on Thomas is like his route running questions may prevent him from going towards the top of the first round and from reaching his full potential. But at the very least, you're getting a very big, fast, incredible athlete that knows how to win down the field and is a threat with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
That's like, I think he actually has like a pretty safe floor. comparatively.
Yeah.
But like his floor isn't like as that high, if that makes sense. Like I think he will be able
Yeah.
to win downfield in the NFL. I don't really have questions about that, but can he go past that? You know, like that's the real question.
I think yes. I think his ceiling. It's not capped, but he can only do a certain amount of things, and if he can't do that, he's not going to find like a ton of success. Like Devontae Parker is a good example of like a guy who had a ton of hype coming out of college, and then put it together for 1 year, had a phenomenal year with the Dolphins, and then that's it. His entire career, other than that, was just whatever. But there was somebody in the stream who asked, or who said, Jermaine Burton is going to explode in the league. Jermaine Burton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like Jermaine Burton. This is the thing. I like too many receivers. I can't give them all like all. I'm probably gonna end up having like 15 maybe like I have 17 current top 3 round grades, and I think I might end up having 20 because I have 35 total guys. But I can't love everybody equally. So like Burton is a guy who kind of falls. My togs. He kind of falls a little bit lower just because I'm so high on a certain amount of guys. But Burton is great after the catchability. I remember seeing him against, he had a good game against Texas, great game against Georgia. And there was one other game where he absolutely popped off. I think it was Ole Miss. It had to be Ole Miss.
Okay, yeah. I actually unfortunately haven't looked at his tape either yet. I will note that down because I definitely want to watch him. Completely forgot about this dude, honestly, but I definitely checked that out. Yeah, just like Burton, looking at some of his stats here,
197 yards and 2 touchdowns versus Texas A&M. I was right about that one.
That's pretty good,
touchdown.
Yeah.
I was wrong about Georgia, 28 yards, but he did have a touchdown. And Ole Miss, no, but at Texas A&M, he went off again that game. I was wrong. I was 1 game off, but where's his yards after catch? Only
131. 131.
But his yards per route run 2.75. That seems a little wrong. I thought he was going after the catch a good amount.
Yeah, and when he
would break away.
Like 10% missed tackle forced.
Contested drop rate, but again 0 drops. That's something that
that's really good. Like you definitely want that. And last year, only like 2 drops. It's like, that's pretty good. That's fine. You're good with that.
I remember I thought, who was that other guy that Alabama had this year who fell by the wayside? Let me go back to my preseason rankings. It was Ja'Cory Brooks. I thought Ja'Cory Brooks would end up being the one on that Alabama receiver corps.
Oh, yeah.
No, definitely did not end up being. I thought he transferred. I think he transferred.
Oh, did he?
Maybe, I don't know. He had like 500 yards or no, he had less.
Was Burton the leading receiver on Alabama?
Yep.
Oh wow. He only had like 800. It's not.
They didn't throw. They ran the ball. Well, they had Milroe. Milroe ran the ball a ton. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Brooks got hurt twice and only had 30 yards. And I think Ja'Cory Brooks transfer. He is not leaving Alabama. Oh no, he's transferring to Louisville.
Oh yeah, okay.
Going to Louisville. That's fine.
It's Burton also had 20 and a half yards per reception.
Yeah,
that's pretty high.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Because he was that splash guy. He was that splash guy at Alabama. The yards after catch number, like 131, I think that's... I don't know if that's lying or if that's just me thinking that it was... The volume of after the catch numbers that he had was different. Because it was mainly...
Last year was over 200. Or like 200. It's a little better on 100 less yards.
It must have been that the chunk plays. Like he would just catch the ball really far instead of catching the ball short and then just going after the catch. He would just get the huge chunk plays.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we were talking about this before, but I can't remember. Who did you say you had at number 10?
Jalen Polk.
Oh, right. Okay, no, we did. Yeah.
So I
I
have
had Roman
we have
Wilson.
Roman Wilson, the future XFL legend. Future XFL.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
You
no,
think so?
that's a TikTok meme.
Oh, I see.
Every comment under his TikTok is future XFL, CFL, USFL.
Oh, I haven't seen
Legend
that.
Roman Wilson. It's just because they're clowning on him. But Roman Wilson, I mean, he killed the Senior
Yeah.
Bowl. I'm gonna continue having him. I'm gonna continue rising him in my board. I mean, I guess I'll let you go on Roman Wilson because I do have
Yeah.
some thoughts in my mind. But
Did
I
you
haven't
watch
do-
his tape at all, or?
Not the tape, but I watched
Okay,
a ton of
yeah.
Michigan games, and especially
Okay,
in the
yeah,
beginning
so-
when he was scoring all the touchdowns.
Yeah, the Michigan, they ran the ball a lot. Like, he didn't have that many chances.
JJ McCarthy
honest,
also really everything was intermediate for JJ. Everything was short intermediate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
67 targets. Oh man.
yeah, yeah. It's not as high for like a number one.
I know,
But-
12 touchdowns though.
Yeah, exactly. That touchdown percentage is. It's cause he's so smooth as a route runner.
He is.
I would say like Ladd McConkey's like the 1A route runner from who I've watched,
I think
and then like the
McConkey's-
1B is Roman Wilson. He's a little bit like the number 2 is Roman Wilson for in terms of like route running.
Yeah, in terms of route running, I mean McConkey. Route running, I think, is a two-dimensional thing because it's either you win crispy or you just win in general. Because you can be win every single time, or you can win that 2 or 3 times, but you're absolutely dogging the cornerback. Like you could be a Kadarius Toney where Toney could get could put drop a corner on his knees, or you could be a guy like Justin Jefferson who literally wins every route. Like Harrison's a guy who can win a ton of routes. Neighbors is a guy who can win on a ton of routes. Or you get like McConkey where he's just gonna embarrass the receiver.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
embarrass the corner, not the receiver.
Yeah, so I thought like Rum Wilson, really good quickness, agility, acceleration, like all those things, big boxes you got to check off for him. His speed was good. I didn't think like he was a blaze, like he didn't have
No,
blazing
he's
speed
not a
or
blazer.
anything.
He's
but
also not the biggest. He's probably gonna be like I don't know his Senior Bowl.
He's
It was like
5'10", 186. At
Yeah.
the Senior Bowl. Yeah, and like shifty route runner, and then good in the ruck game. Like he uses his like movement skills
He
really
moves
well.
very
Like,
well. He moves
yeah,
well.
he's in the short to intermediate parts of the field. Like he creates space for himself. He
Yeah.
moves. He's really shifty. He can accelerate. He stops really well. He even created deep, like a decent amount of time.
If JJ
which,
wasn't his quarterback,
notably,
yeah, if JJ wasn't his quarterback, he would have a lot more yards. Or not if JJ. JJ was good and he could put the ball in the right places. But if he had like an Drake May, he would. Caleb Williams, Roman would be like 1,000 easy, 1,000 maybe 1,100, 1,200 guy.
yeah, and he also actually had he has really really good hands.
Yeah, one drop, only one drop.
Yeah, exactly. One drop. You're very very happy with that. Like especially for a smaller guy, you definitely don't
Yeah.
want them dropping it.
He's a good slot.
You know,
fit.
like
He's a really good slot.
2% drop, 2% drop percentage this year.
Dare I say Julian Edelman?
Yeah, and I would say also like, in terms of like his weaknesses, why is he not higher? Like why don't I have him up with McConkey? McConkey's still like he's a bit better of a route runner. Wilson, he got beat by press like
Yeah.
kind of badly in the reps that I saw. He didn't have too many reps, but when he did,
Yeah,
he kind of
he didn't
got
have many
torched by
reps.
it. And like I would say like even if he doesn't figure out how to beat press, modern NFL, like it still has a place for him. Just like we talked about like with the amount of motion, stacks, bunches, he could easily be schemed away from that. And he's one of the more refined route runners in the class. So
Yeah.
if a team needs a guy that'll get open, I mean, he's that guy. So, I'm thinking about like the Panthers might be a little bit early for him, but if
no, you end his career. You want to end
Yeah.
his career. They need so many. They need so many wide. The Panthers are a nightmare. They are
Yeah,
truly a
yeah.
nightmare scenario. But I have Roman Wilson 15, and I think I'm probably
Okay.
gonna end up moving him up.
Yeah, man. When you watch his tape, I think you'll like it because his route running is really, really strong.
And then, what was I gonna say? I mean, that kind of Roman Wilson. Whenever you talk about any Michigan offensive player, it always segues back to like JJ, because you want to talk about when you want to talk about Corum, he's stealing all of JJ's touchdowns. You want to talk about JJ, you talk about Corum. You want to talk about Wilson, talk about JJ. Even if you want to talk about guys like where is he? AJ Barner, who is a blocking. I think he's a pure blocking tight end, but that's a little segue. But have you seen any of the USC guys like Brandon Rice?
Yes, I graded Brendan Rice. I have not looked at Washington.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a little closer than people think.
I had him a little lower. I have he's the lowest receiver that I've watched so far, lowest grade for me.
Yeah, I kind of feel I kind of get that people aren't super high on him. Maybe not. Yeah, he's just not excellent at anything. I don't think he's very excellent at anything.
Yeah, exactly. He still has some good traits. I think he can play. I think he'll be he could be a good fourth receiver, maybe a good third receiver even.
Yeah.
But I just don't see him. I don't see him ever becoming a number 2 even.
I think he benefited a ton from his situation. Not even. That's really. Yeah. I don't know if any USC receiver had the greatest. They definitely didn't have the greatest scheme. I don't think the USC scheme. When I was watching the Caleb tape, it really felt like any end of the game. If they were in a tight game or if they were losing, it was freestyle mode. It was receivers just do whatever. The scheme kind of broke down, and it was everybody do what you want to do and let Caleb cook. And could Caleb cook? Yeah, Caleb, especially in 2022, Caleb was cooking, and it was everything late game, early game, when the scheme and the scripted plays, everything worked. But then when it went to freestyle mode, Caleb could do it. This year, when they were down in the Notre Dame game, it was a free-for-all. It was really receivers are just doing whatever they want, running deep routes on random occasions, and just letting Caleb get feasted on by the stunts that Notre Dame would always run. But then you get games like the first game they played, San Diego State, where it was just literally every play was working. It was every chunk play, every thing that they were just doing. It was so bipolar. The defense didn't help, but I'm not looking at the defense for USC. But Brandon Rice was, I think, the best receiver that they had last year. He was the most consistent, especially within the end zone. He would always come down with those red zone targets. And then Taj Washington, to me, was the second best guy. He was their after-the-catch, speed threat, deep threat guy.
Yeah. I thought Rice, he's definitely draftable for me. I would say early day 3.
Yeah, I think day 3.
Good size. He accelerates pretty well. I would say his receiving IQ, he's Jerry Rice's son. So I think just being able to grow up around that, he has good receiving IQ in my opinion. I noticed out of all the receivers I watched, when there was scramble drill happened, he was the one that would most consistently work back to the QB and really actually create throwing windows. A lot of receivers, they'll just they'll try to get open, but they're not
are they really getting
working
open?
Back to him?
They're trying to.
They're not working back.
Wait, no, you good? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. They're not constantly working back towards the quarterback, which is kind of a underrated thing in scramble drills. If you're coming working towards him, it is a little bit better just because if you're running more upfield and stuff, especially in a zone coverage, you'll run into zones. I also noticed he was a good run blocker. I don't usually note that down. My run blocking grades are a little iffy, I would say. But if I
don't really care about it. It depends. Yeah. Unless you're a big receiver and you suck at run blocking. If you're a small receiver and you're good at run blocking, it's really in the middle. Because half of the 90% of run blocking snaps for wide receivers are their breaks.
Yeah.
Just kind of
exactly.
It's the unwritten rule. But I love that you noted that with the Brandon Rice that he's coming back on the scramble drills because there were so many examples. And some of those USC receivers, what they would do is there's 2 defenders like with like the linebackers like 20 deep, and then you get the cornerback. They're running, trying to split them, like running behind one of the linebacker instead of coming back and like tracking back to the 10-yard line, middle of the field. Not 10-yard line, but the first down marker or whatever. But yeah, no, Brandon Rice was that. He was always that guy that would just come back to the ball. I love that you noticed that.
Hello?
Yep.
Oh, okay, there we go. You cut out for a second there.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, like that's pretty much it. Like I think if he goes to a situation with one of these QBs that's really good at extending plays, so like, a Bengals, a
Kyler.
Chiefs, like even like, Fields likes running around a lot. So like wherever Fields goes, wherever Caleb goes,
Yeah,
where Jaden Daniels goes,
Bears and Arizona.
Yeah, Kyler, that could work pretty well as well. Yeah, so, and I also thought like his routes like were pretty solid. In the short to intermediate game, he runs routes pretty well. He has like some like low key good shiftiness, especially like I would say over the middle of the field. In that aspect, like he's pretty shifty and could get open. He also didn't drop the ball much, which is good. 45 receptions, 2 drops. Like that's pretty respectable. But he doesn't really separate downfield. That was like the main thing that I didn't like. Well, 2 things really. He doesn't separate downfield, and he's 6'2", 212. You don't really notice it.
Yeah, he plays a little smaller. He's also not super fast. You wouldn't expect.
No, yeah, he's kind of.
If you looked at Brandon Rice, you would not think he's 6'3", 210.
Yeah.
On tape, you would not like. You would have. I remember last year or in the middle of the season, I was like, oh yeah, Brandon Rice. Let me look at his stats, and it was like 6'3", 210. I was like, that doesn't. I don't think that translates. Like Xavier Legette is somebody that would be like, oh yeah, there's no question he's 6'3", and then he's 6'1".
Yeah, that dude's built.
Yeah, and he looks like just some people just kind of look tall, but then you got like the lanky guys where it kind of helps. Like I don't have a good example. I forgot it was like it was Christian Watson. Christian Watson I thought was like 6'5", and then he was 6'5".
Oh, is he that tall?
Christian Watson's tall.
Oh, I didn't realize he was that big. I thought he was like 6'3". Wow.
It was the combine where he was like 6. He was listed at like 6'4.5", but on ESPN for NDSU he was 6'5", and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then he was 6'4" at the combine, but 208. I remember the conversation around him. He was the biggest combine riser because he ran a 4.28, and he came in at like 6'4". He had a 9.9 RAS score.
Oh wow, yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah, I don't think Rice runs very fast. I think he'll like in the 4.5s, maybe.
Yeah, 4.5
like
flat.
Like a 4.5 flat, I think would be a good time for him.
Yeah.
Even like mid 4.5s, I'm expecting. We'll see. He's not that slow, but yeah, his speed definitely limits him from winning downfield, and he doesn't use like his size. Like he's not very good contested catcher.
I wonder if any of these wide receivers are going to run sub 4.3. I don't think there is one.
No?
I don't...
Maybe Worthy.
Yes. I think you're right. I think maybe a 4.29.
And Worthy? I think Walker might have like a chance because I think...
No.
Well, we'll see.
I
think he only has a chance because like he'll be just so pissed about his Senior Bowl that he's going to like work so hard on this. So I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he runs 4.3s for sure. Maybe not 4.2s.
4.2s. The only guy I would see is Worthy,
maybe Worthy,
and then maybe Washington.
Oh yeah,
maybe
I haven't looked at him yet.
No, that's it. There are a lot of big. Yeah. There's just a lot of archetype type of.
But there's a lot of like 4.3 guys.
Yeah. Like 4.3, 4.4, I think that's where pretty much like everybody, not everybody, but like a lot of the good guys land.
Yeah, this receiver class is just ridiculous. I was like so surprised by how like it's my first year really doing grades, and I'm looking at this receiver class and I'm like, why is everyone graded so high?
Everybody's really good, and
Yeah.
I had that last year. Well, I had that last year, but the opposite issue. I was like, why is everybody not so good in last year's class? Because I didn't like the wide receiver class last year. I liked
Yeah.
Zay Flowers a ton. I had him sixth on my top 50, and then I had
Oh wow.
JSN top 15, and then Quinn, and then I didn't like Addison a ton. I thought he just didn't play at all physical, but yeah, obviously he won the Biletnikoff in 2022 or 2021 with Kenny Pickett. So I was like, all right, I'll factor that in. But I did not like Quentin Johnston, and that really made sense. And I didn't
really
like.
work out.
I really need to look at last year's. But I had Quentin Johnston and Jordan Addison at the same grade. But
There's like Tank Dell.
I liked Tank Dell. I had him 7th. I really liked Downs. Downs was the guy that I liked.
Downs is good.
I had
Downs
him
is really
6th.
good.
Hyatt, I was wrong. Hyatt, I was right and wrong about. I didn't like Hyatt.
We'll see.
I didn't like Hyatt at all, really. But I understood that this guy, 1,500-yard receiver. This guy is an explosive threat. He just went to the wrong place. The Giants are just the worst place for a deep threat, explosive guy to go to because they don't throw the ball deep.
Yeah. I would say jury's still out on Hyatt.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so pretty much the last guy that we haven't talked about that I have graded would be like Ricky Pearsall.
I have not looked at him.
Oh yeah. He was so like I noticed him at the Senior Bowl like everyone did, and so like I checked out his tape. It tracks. Really tracks. I have him as my 8th receiver, like just barely above Leggett and Roman Wilson, just barely above those two.
I have him under Johnny Wilson.
Okay. Yeah. I think if once you look at get into that tape, I think you might change your mind. He's like his route running is really refined. I'd say like he's change of direction really strong. He decelerates well. He's solid in the run after catch game as well. Good contributor, and he's like a surprisingly good contested ball guy, and like his hands are really really good. I think 2 drops last year. The year before that, 1 drop. So like 0 concerns pretty much about his drop rate. 2 drops and 65 receptions there this year. I think like his hands will translate, and he gets open. He doesn't drop the ball, and yeah, like his contested catching is also really strong. He's not huge, 6'1", 193, but he's not like tiny or anything. And he has like the most ridiculous catch you'll ever see. I don't know if you've seen the clip.
Maybe.
She's between 2 defenders. In the middle of the field, he jumps up with one hand, grabs it with one hand,
I saw that.
For 4.
and he gets popped.
Again, that pass is high.
And he still holds on to it. And like
score for 4.
I'm watching
you'll
it right
see that, and you'll watch his film, and you'll be like, that's probably not a fluke, honestly, because he has some good contested grabs on tape, and he doesn't drop the ball. So like, I have no real concerns with him. He just like struggled during contact. That was my only thing.
I just sent the picture.
Yeah, that.
That's a ridiculous catch. I mean,
and he got popped by like 2
yeah.
guys. Right? Yeah.
Jesus. And that was early in the game too. My favorite catch of all time is do you remember that Oklahoma, that one-handed diving Oklahoma linebacker who just, I forgot what game it was, but the most ridiculous catch ever.
No, like I said, like how recent was that?
Last year.
Oh, okay, then.
DJ Graham. Oh my God, I'm sending you. Yeah, so this is
I'll check it.
The link. I mean,
it's a pick too.
Yeah, that and the what was it? The Marvin Harrison
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Marvin Harrison reception against Indiana in 2022 was the moment I realized, oh yeah, this guy's goated with the sauce.
I can't stop watching this. That was ridiculous. Woo.
No, I think
Wow.
that's the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's nasty.
4th and 18 too. Oh my God. No, it's that's on every like greatest catch highlight tape.
It's
now.
funny he didn't even need to pick it either.
No, he could have just batted it down, but he really just wanted that. That's not even a good situation to pick that because
What
they're
a
inside the
catch,
20,
though.
but it just didn't matter.
Yeah. No, that was disgusting. Yeah. Wow, that's a crazy catch.
Well, how did you get the PFF?
Oh, that's a good question. One of the YouTubers I watch, I mentioned him earlier, called That Franchise Guy. He was having a live stream one time. He mentioned that he worked there. Like he mentioned it before. Someone asked him about it on the live stream, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just like applied online. And I found it, and I was like, oh, let me do this." And then I like applied, and I've been doing like part-time stuff for them for 3 years.
3 years. This is my first
Yeah.
year.
Okay. What did you like? What kind of stuff did you do?
College
you on-
football.
No. Like, were you like what process?
Oh, I was PP.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
What are you? Probably analytics, right?
No. Base and I do coverage as well.
Oh, recording.
Like no. Like defensive coverage. All
Oh,
coverage.
like actual coverage. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you would know most about the cornerback class because that's I think the class I need the most help on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was. It was. I definitely learned a lot learning about that. I learned it like last summer. It was tough, for sure. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna do corners next. I just need to do like 5 to 10 more guys here. Probably, I would say 10 more guys.
Yeah.
Realistically.
10.
And yeah, because I
mean,
gotta do like
this class is too good.
I gotta do like the big three. Then I gotta do Burton. I gotta do Washington. Both Washingtons.
Malik Washington.
Both Washingtons.
All the
And
all the Washington
McMillan
guys.
and Polk. So like I still got some work to do, but
that does
should
make
be able
sense.
to get it done.
If you would know coverage, if you're a coverage guy, then that makes sense that you'd have the most knowledge on corners and receivers. What would
Yeah.
I would say, well, my expertise is the trenches. That's kind
Okay.
of that's the first thing, which is weird because I'm a tiny guy. I'm like 155 pounds. But that was the first skill, I guess, that I learned, not for PFF, just on my own. I learned, because the first thing that I learned was the techs, like 0, the 1, 2I, 2, 3, 4I, 5, 6, 7, 8, all that stuff. That was what I learned the best, or that was what I learned first. And then my first players that I ever watched film on was Ika Makwanu. And then now I watch a ton of, or I've just been over the years watching a ton of just like line tape. But that's
cool.
That's why I honestly don't think I'm the best at evaluating like receivers and cornerbacks. No, cornerbacks is different. I think I can evaluate corners. Wide receivers is always the position that I have the hardest time with. Which I think that
It
this
is
year,
like
it's,
really polarizing for sure.
for me. I don't know. It's a little bit more difficult than like running back or quarterback's the hardest. Everybody knows quarterback's the hardest. But I think I'm always fairly accurate with my line and defensive line takes. Like I'm not the highest on Dallas Turner. I'm really high on Byron Murphy.
Okay.
And,
I
those
like,
guys have a good expertise on.
I'm really high on Liatu Latu.
Yeah, he's my edge one.
Good. Yeah.
And he's
I think like he's too polished to not like be the best guy.
He's 11th. Yeah, he's a 3-down edge. For me,
Yeah.
I have not watched his film yet, but I watched the Turner film. I've watched. I'm also low on Chop Robinson. I just hate.
Yeah,
to
a
say
lot
it.
of people are actually.
I think a lot of people are just too high on him. People have him like people have Chop Robinson above Verse. They have him above Trice, and I'm
What?
like, that's
Oh,
ridiculous.
okay. I apparently I wasn't in the loop. That's ridiculous.
No, it's ridiculous. But I have Chop Robinson 5th. Like, I get it, but his production numbers have never been there. He's a 2-down edge rusher.
Yeah.
He's got great speed and bend, and the quickness off of the line of scrimmage is there. Like, I think, is a perfect 3rd-down rusher. That is something that I love a ton about Robinson. He's not playing the run. The same example I could say with Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner's not playing the run. His 4 run stop rate, or 4% run stop rate 2 years in a row, and I think in 2022 was 3.9. That's a very telling sign. And
and this
they don't
year
need the double
he was
team.
supposed to be the guy. Yeah.
And he was 10 sacks. He had 50 pressures. He was, but I think relative, and a 20% pass rush win rate, but relative to like Leia too, 26.2 pass rush win rate. He had, I don't know what his pass rushing productivity was and how many hits he had, but he had 13 sacks. He's got good pass rush moves. He's got good quickness. He's just kind of all around like solid. He bulked up a ton because he hurt his neck in 2021, and then in 2022 came back in a situational pass rush role. And now this year he gained 10 pounds. He was listed at 265, probably be like 260, 250, high 250s, but can play the run, can rush the pass, can be I think he's a 4-3 defensive end, a stand-up edge rusher on the 5 tech. I have a similar thing with Verse, but the guy that I'm highest on for the defensive line is Byron Murphy. I think that's undeniable that Byron Murphy's like, I think he's next up compared. Like, I remember Jalen Carter. I had Jalen Carter as my number 1 player last year. Byron Murphy,
wow, okay.
He's not just as good, but I can see the similarities because Byron Murphy, 19.6 pass rush win rate, 9.6 pass rushing productivity rate. Both of those are first. Highest graded pass rusher for an interior defensive line. And that's all coming from a 30-70 split from the A-gap to the B-gap. You would think that T'Vondre Sweat, the 364-pound guy, was actually the nose tackle, but no, it was Byron Murphy. And one-on-ones, Murphy was a mauler. Like, no center was ever touching Murphy one-on-one, but that's why he got double teamed at like a super high rate. I remember I watched 3 film games. He was double teamed at least half the time, and that kind of affected him, especially later in the game. He got worn down by those double teams, but any one-on-one rep, he was pushing back so fast because he's got the quickness. He's got good, like, his footwork is great. He's got good pass rushing technique with push and pulls, good hand placement, and his leverage is phenomenal. Byron Murphy's the guy that not even just my IDL 1. I think he's the best trench guy in the class, other than of course Joe Alt. Joe Alt his lower body is insane. Like whenever
definitely over Newton, like easily
over Newton. I think and I love Jazan Newton, and I love T'Vondre Sweat, though Murphy's easily over those two, in my opinion. But and then he's my second. He's my second trench guy that outside of Joe Alt, and Joe Alt is crazy. Like, he's already super polished.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so I think that's we've been streaming a long while now, so I think it's time. I got some stuff to do today.
All right.
Thanks so much for having me, man. This was a great discussion. I'm real glad I came on. I'd love to come back to talk about corners.
Yeah, I think that's
more about the class.
That's the class that I think you're going to need to teach me a little bit about, because I do know a good amount of the cornerback class, but it's the last position I've been able to get to, so it's probably the last position I know the most about, and I have not watched any film on any of the cornerbacks. So I'll need to study up a little bit before our next discussion.
Yeah, I haven't watched film on them yet either, so it'll probably be a few weeks, or a week or two at least.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right. Good talking to you, man. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Yeah.
Have a good day. All right.